Three, two. Good morning. This is the Ron and John show. Lovely to have to be here today. A little bit of wind outside. Thank God it stopped raining. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. Because it was supposed to rain all day today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, never day, just all the days in the world it seems like. So I mean, we're here today. My co-host John's here. Go ahead, John.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to our show, Real Talk Eastern Shore. And today we got a special guest live.
So yeah. Speaking on that, this guy I've known probably about 23 years. I'm thinking. So he knows my daughter pretty much. He remembers her when she was in the womb. Literally, it's like she was moving around, kicking the crap out of my ex right in the stomach, karate chopping her and stuff like this. So not holding back anymore. Welcome, John Tank Miller. How you doing, man?
Doing awesome, man. Pleasure to be here with you guys this morning.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I haven't seen you in like 22 years. There's a lot of, remembrance of what we were doing and all the good times, and like anything, you've been doing something that, I would say is very important in the community, but important for yourself as well.
Absolutely.
And usually yourself comes first because if you can't cure yourself, you can't cure nobody. And we're going to run with that, and we're definitely getting into this Q&A, and we're going to go from there. And if it lasts 17 hours, I'm fine with that. I know you got to leave by 4 o'clock, but that's what we say, about 6 hours. But it could last that long. You're very talkative like me, so that's a good thing. Not as loud as me, but you're talkative as me. So
I don't
that's a
think
good
anyone's as loud as
thing. No,
you.
well, there's a lot of girls way louder than me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, you can hear them miles down the road. You're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Come on now, really?" Like I can hear you down the block over on not going to say the corners, but I'll just put it that way. I can hear you 9 houses down, literally on the block on the corner. But yeah. So let's go with this. So introduce yourself as how your age and where you're from, man.
Well, my name is John Tank Miller. Born and raised in Milford, Delaware. Age, pains me to say this, but I'm actually 43.
But that's a
So,
good thing,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, creeping up on 45.
Yeah, well, they say, it's like the wine, in the cellar, man. You let it age, and as you age, you get better tasting, and you get better completely over. When you're 22, you don't know nothing. You think you know everything, but now
Yeah.
you're like, 43. You're like, oh, I'm getting close to that senior citizen age, but you learn a lot as you go.
Absolutely,
You
I
know?
will say that is the blessing of getting older and wiser.
Yeah, well,
When you wake up in the morning, sometimes that body aching, you like, oh
Oh.
Lord.
every day, man, I got to take at least one Tylenol every day, or at least an ibuprofen, because if not, my body aches. Like I never thought, like I never got to this point in life where I'd be sitting there going, "Oh man, I really don't want to move." And then I move, and I'm like, "Oh man," and I crack, 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 crack. I'm like, "Oh my god!" And it's bad because I'm sitting here going, "Senior citizen age is like 63, 65, or 67. What is it? Is it like in that range?"
It's in the
Like something
60s.
like
It's
that?
in the 60s.
Yeah, like I'm sitting there thinking, how am I going to make it another 21 years? Or another 14 at least. I'm 46. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to go bad, because every day is just like a struggle. But I know that I get up, I look out the window, breathe air, and go, it's been a great, great night.
Right.
And it's going to be a good day,
Absolutely.
no matter how it goes.
Hmm.
So, definitely. From Milford, Delaware, the metropolis of Milford, I guess you're gonna say.
Central Delaware.
Well, it's close.
Yeah, Central Delaware.
I mean, literally, it's the suburbs of Slaughter's Beach, kind of.
Like I say, depending on what part of Milford you're on, you're either Kent and Sussex. So
Yeah.
like I said, it's right there in the center.
You're right. That's actually technically the only town like that. Because I'm coming to think about it, because Houston's a little bit north of this line, and Farmington on one side is actually Sussex, but it's technically Greenwood.
Yeah.
So like it's totally different. Milford's split in half. So it's kind of weird. Thank God we ain't got county cops, because it'd be like 3,000 cops in Milford all the time.
True.
With a little bit of crime. I mean, there is crime, but
Yeah.
not like that much. So I guess that's a good thing. So definitely, how would you say your childhood was throughout the time as you were growing up?
Childhood was, looking back now, it was actually, I was kind of sheltered because we lived off in the country. Like there was like nobody really around us but family and like close friends. So we had like our own little small community, no cable, none of that good stuff. So it's like we had to go outside and just make our own fun and play around. And when you're coming up, you're creative.
Mhm.
So we're building bikes and making ramps and doing whatever we can. We had the little milk crate for the basketball net before we actually got a real basketball court. So we're just going outside playing catch and just playing in the dirt.
You didn't have concrete, did you, on the basketball court?
Nah,
it was all dirt.
it was all dirt, man.
So it was grass that you pounded
yeah,
down.
just we
throughout the
pounded it
time.
down, man, and just made our own court out there.
Wow, like that.
So-
Can you imagine now, like society? We all have cell phones now, and almost everyone's got satellite or they got TV, cable. Can you imagine that now?
Nah,
Like,
because people would go crazy. Because like people get Netflix and there's like thousands of options on there, and like there's nothing on here. Like there's thousands of options on there.
Yeah,
And it's like, you know what I
many
mean?
other
So
things.
now you got to get Hulu, and then you got to get Paramount Plus, and you got to get this app, that app,
Peacock and all
Peacock,
that,
and everything
yeah.
else. I'm like, we had like 2 channels, maybe 3, whatever. On a good day, you had to turn the antenna the right way, and it's like that's what we were working with.
So you had the one along upside on the
On
outside,
side of the
like,
house,
not
and you
like
had to
20
turn that
foot
thing
high,
20
yeah.
feet high, and you got to turn it and get it right, and put the little aluminum foil on the antenna and all that.
And
good
you
stuff.
were the remote, probably.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you
Go
better
change the channel.
Go
Yeah.
change that channel right now, boy. Like,
Right.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Dad. Stop. But I mean, the good thing was you learned a lot when you were younger because like you don't have this facilities of a phone. Like back then, it was landlines.
Yeah.
You didn't have a phone, so like a cell phone was like a delicacy in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, and like now it's a need.
Yeah.
You know, because I sit there and think about it sometimes. Like I'll sit there and I'll throw my phone on the desk, and I'm sitting there going like, I'll hear a ring, and I'm like, man, I wish I didn't have this.
Yeah,
Like there's sometimes I wish I didn't even have a cell phone.
I agree.
But at the same time, there's every once in a while you want to answer it anyway because you need to answer.
Yeah.
But it's just so the change of time, the technology and stuff. Back then. So you figure back in let's see, like 1980s. You look at the models of cars now compared to then.
Oh yeah.
They were box cars.
Yeah.
You had like a rectangle that would ride with like a little bit of highlight on it, and then you were classified. Oh, well, you got a car, man. Now that's expensive. Now cars are way expensive compared to then. The problem is like the income and the minimum wage hasn't gone as far up there, so it makes it more of an issue, unfortunately.
True.
But I mean, like back then, like you had to survive. You had to go outside. I mean, any like great stories when you were younger and stuff like that? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Oh, great stories with just being around my grandmother. Like she was like my number one. So my grandmother is like an inspiration to me, and sometimes I get emotional just talking about her because she meant that much to me. And the man I am today is a lot because of her. Like she had a huge heart. She served. She would give you the shirt off her back, and she was just a special person. Like there's no word can describe how important she was, and I want to keep her legacy alive just by being a percentage of the person that she was, because she would give you anything, but she would also keep it real with you in a respectful manner. I never seen my grandmother get nasty, and I never seen her complain. She always thanked God for every day that she was here on this earth, and until the day she left, she did that. So learning to attack every day and not complain is something that I had to work on, because we want to complain about the misfortunes and the things that we go through, but just seeing her do that at her early age pretty much put that in my mind that look, things are going to be all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic that you had someone to look up to. And
Absolutely.
you embodied them completely, and was like, if I can only just be half of her,
Yeah,
or
just
like
half
a
of her.
quarter of her.
Yeah.
I think I can make that change and go from there. And you come from, was it you have what, was it 2 sisters?
2 sisters.
Yeah, and I want to say, was it no brothers? Or one brother?
It's actually 2 brothers, and I have another brother that's pretty much I call my brother because we grew up in the same neighborhood and we were just that tight. He was always over my house eating dinner with us and all that. So he's my brother as well.
So you get the same treatment if you got punished, you get the same treatment too?
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
back in the day, wherever we actually disciplined kids that weren't ours back in the day. You know how that
It
is.
takes a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, back then.
I-
Yeah, you might not want to try that now. People get so offended if you try to talk to their kids. Oh, that's not yours. Okay, well,
he gonna end up in jail. If he won't
absolutely.
blame, and
So
that's unfortunate.
yeah, that's a whole nother topic right there.
Yeah, and I mean, we can dive into that
Yeah.
topic anytime you want. I'm cool with anything. Like we go, we just go by the seat of our pants. I mean, John, you have anything to say?
Well, I want to know about your page. Tank Mentality, is it?
Okay, so tank mentality is a movement that I created, and basically my goal was just to help other people overcome life, overcome obstacles that they're going through, go after their dreams. And it was just something that I wanted to create to just basically spark change. If I could use my story, whatever, to help other people and basically be that person to say, hey, look, if I did it, whatever, you can too, because everything in this life is mental.
Right.
So the tank mentality is pretty much like, hey, I'm battle tested. I'm ready for whatever is coming my way. So I just used my name and created a movement.
So, what exactly made you start this movement?
It was just, I was in a network marketing company.
Okay.
And most of the network marketing company is all about personal development. So when you're going through personal development and you start hearing testimonies from other people, and you start seeing all of these people that's making strides and creating change in the world, and I sat at a conference and I was just like, why not me? And I was at a Anthony Robbins speak. He was doing a speaking engagement at the company I was with, 5 Links, like back in the day, and he was just talking about overcoming the things that you've been through and using those experiences as power, as motivation to basically say, hey man, I went through this already, I can get through this too. And it just really excited me, and I went home that day and I looked at my partner Andre Matthews, who actually brought me into the company, and I was like, man, I'm gonna start my own movement. And he was just like, for real? He's like, go for it, bro. And I was like, I'm gonna call it tank mentality. And it was just an idea. And sure enough, I just started. I put it on a Walmart press-on shirt just to say, look, this could be a thing. Because I always wanted to start a T-shirt brand or whatever, but I didn't know what I wanted. Because I didn't want to just start something cheesy and it just be a fad.
Right.
So this was something. I'm like, man, this could actually have meaning. Like, I can take my name, whatever, and start my own brand. And I did it, and
And a sword.
it actually kind of just took off. And it's like I started posting hashtag tank mentality on some of my posts. People started looking at them and started sharing them and commenting on them, and it just became a movement. So now I started an empowerment group, and I also have a brand that I can actually have products and things that I actually made. And I'm working on another distributor right now because I'm not pretty much pleased with the distributor I'm working with right now. So I will expand it, and that's something I'm working on for 2023. So big things coming from tank mentality.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's definitely good. I mean, since we jumped ahead where I wanted to, I would go wait till later, but it's okay. We got ADHD on
ADHD.
max, you know
We
what I
can
mean?
go back and forth.
Oh yeah, it is what it is, man. But the good thing is, like I said, I got some history with him, so I know a little bit about him, not too much. I mean, there's my dog, for Christ's sakes. But anyway, so growing up, being in Milford, living in the middle of nowhere, how was high school to you? Like, how was school to you? Like, how do you feel it was?
I didn't really like school. Like, being kind of introverted, chubby guy. So, sometimes you get a little picked on.
Join the club.
You're not really popular with the ladies.
Of course not.
So, the only time I really felt a part of anything is when I joined the football team. And that's the only time I ever felt like I was really accepted. Because, I was acting out. I was getting in trouble. Doing all the things that, troubled kids do. So when I actually put on that football uniform and they say, hey, brother, if you keep acting up, you can't play. So, like back to what I was saying, that's where I felt accepted because everybody accepted me when I put that uniform on. It's like the guys that would normally be teasing me or whatever, now we're brothers.
Yeah.
We're on the football field together and we're a team. And then, of course, when I got on that football field, all that rage I had into me started coming out.
which is a good thing.
So I started
thing.
just, going out there and just hitting people and making a lot of noise. And it was something that it kind of gave me like, I can't explain the feeling like the first time I started hitting people and started just running people over and all that good stuff.
That
so
violent rage started going down. Right?
And it was all legal too.
yeah. Like I wouldn't get reprimanded for this.
Oh, I hit this guy. Oh, he's good. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, was it? So did someone try to recruit you and say, "Hey, I think you'd be a good football player," or "Hey, why don't you come out to a practice?" Or like a friend say something to you, or you just made that mentality?
I pretty much always wanted to play football because as a man with your dad, you you grow up watching football.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at all the guys playing football, and I'm like, I want to do that too. And I'm looking at the Cowboys. My dad was a Cowboys fan. My grandfather was a Redskin fan. So growing up, football was kind of fun because it's like
Thanksgiving was probably rough.
so it's kind of fun sometimes, like just seeing the rivalries and the back and forth and all that with those two. So just seeing a lot of those guys, whatever, and football was like, that was the thing. That was like America's game. So you're watching these guys on TV, and I'm like, man, I want to do that too.
Oh yeah.
So being I was big, I couldn't play Pop Warner.
Yeah, because
So
I
I
had
had
135.
Yeah, so I had to wait until I got to middle school to put a uniform on. And once I did, it was like I said, the rest was history.
So being out where you were living, which is probably what about 8 to 10 miles from the school, was it hard for people, your parents to get you to practice sometimes and stuff like that?
Well, back then they had an activity bus. So after after practice, the bus took you home.
Oh, okay.
So I was luckily on that aspect because, like I said, we had a bus that took us home.
Gotcha.
So it was a little ride, whatever. But you had to go the whole route. But it was better than your parents had to come out there and pick you up and all that stuff. So
Now, I'm not much of a football player. What is Pop Warner?
Pop Warner is like youth football. It's like
Okay.
it's like a youth football league, like little league for football.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like they have like weight limits, and I was over that weight limit because I was a chubby boy, so
Gotcha. Okay.
couldn't play.
Yeah, so it's like Pop Warner is like 8, 9. I think it's midgets, mites, stuff like that. There's all types. There's like 3 or 4 different divisions. But once you get past, I think 135 pounds, you can't
Something
play
like
Pop Warner.
that.
So if you're 6 and you're 135 pounds, you're probably not going to play. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Because you're 6 years old, you're not even developed, any of your bones really.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes an issue.
Mhm.
But I mean, the good thing is, you were able to go into high school and do this. And how long did you play football?
I played football from when I was in middle school. I think 6th grade we were allowed to play, all the way up until I graduated.
Nice.
And it was a funny story when we got to the high school. My first day of freshman practice, we were running Oklahoma drills.
Yes, sir.
And the Oklahoma drills will make you determine if you're going to be a football player, basketball player, or wherever else, because that's like you're going at it. That's like full contact. You're getting them off the ground and you're just going at the next person. So we ran that drill, and I just refused to go down. So everybody that lined up against me either got ran over or I just went through them. So my football coach was excited. Coach Hitchens, God rest his soul, he was like, I guarantee nobody can tackle my boy. So when he started saying this, now my interest level just like, oh snap. Like, he hyping me up right now. I'm a freshman. I'm out here excited. First day of pads. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that I was just happy to be out on the football field. So every time they line somebody up against me, I'm running them over. He said, that's my boy. I'm going to call him Tank. And that's how Tank was born.
So Tank was born by the football coach.
My football coach, Coach Hitchens, named me Tank. First day of hitting. And that name has stuck with me ever since.
Wow.
And that is a true story.
And that's funny because I didn't even know that at all. And the fact that I can't remember who it was, but someone was like, yeah, you gotta meet Tank. And I'm like, who? They're like, Tank. What's a tank? They're like, oh yeah, he's a good guy. This and that. I was like, okay, but what is a tank? Oh, he's a big guy. I was like, well, I kind of figured it out from the name, but we'll just go with who's a tank. You know what I mean? And then when I met you, it was like, cool, man. Like you good people, 100%. And that's good. I mean, you graduated from school. Went from there. You didn't play any other sports, did you?
No, I was recruited to play a wrestling, but like I said, I was more into pro wrestling than actual technical wrestling, so I declined. And plus, I didn't want to wear that little tight Speedo.
Yeah.
So that kind of had something in my decision as well.
Well, I did wrestle a couple of times in high school, and I learned to pack socks if you got to. You know what I mean? So gotta make something look, because you got people looking at you like, oh my God, if you look like you're slim, they're like, what the heck going on there? You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's kind of bad too. But I understand that. So you graduated from high school. So from there, you were working a part-time job, I do believe.
Yeah, I've actually started working KFC my sophomore year of high school. Unfortunately, I was the man of the house at the time, so to ensure ends meet, I was working. I was working pretty much 30 hours a week or so, and going to school, and maintaining an honor roll and playing football.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of people, like I'm looking at kids today, like they can't maintain that.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even want to go out of the house. You know, and we get them out of the house. So what are we gonna do? Well, when I was going out of the house, I used to be sent down the road down in Farmington, and then you come back when the damn nightfall. Now it's just like you send them out here 5 minutes to come back in time because they got the Xbox, they got the Nintendo Switch, they got
iPads, Kindles,
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad because I look at it. You know, I wonder every once in a while with us growing up when we were our age. You know, were we the same way? But I don't think we were, but I think we were to a point.
We were to a point because I was always a gamer, and I have about every console that came out. But I also knew when to turn the game off and go to school and go to my job and do the things that I had to do as well. So it was kind of a balance. And then plus, our parents didn't really play that. Like you're going to have to do your chores.
Yep.
And you're going to have to do the things that they need you to do. Then you can get on your game as a reward. But you're not just going to play the game 24/7.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you wholeheartedly. You know, it's like when I was talking about my parents in my first episode, man, when I got punished right. It wasn't, oh, well, you can't play this. You get grounded in your room. You didn't have nothing there.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes you get to paddle, you get beat. And, I mean, now it's illegal to do that.
Absolutely.
You can only spank one time. You can only give one hand spanking, technically, by law, which I come to find out, not because I experienced that, but I had to ask that to verify, because I got so many kids in my life anyway. It seems like I got 400 of them. Because I have kids coming over here all the time because, I have kids here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is, I think our mentalities of growing up is different than what they are today.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean, their thing is they think the parents should be treating them, and I guess you can say maybe not direction, but give it to them. You know what I mean? Back then, it was nothing given. You know what I mean? You had to work for everything, And then we look at just look at the prices now. It's just so much. It's just ridiculous, But the thing is, like you press, you got a little bit farther in life. You got your diploma, so you working at KFC. So you worked with KFC till what? Like till you what? 22, 24, 25?
I gave them almost 15 years before I was let go.
15 years?
Almost 15 years.
Holy
Wow.
crap!
So yeah, I mean,
wow. So you were like, you would be like almost 32.
Yeah.
33. Wow.
So did you also do some higher learning, community college, regular college?
yeah. If I really wanted to go to Johnson and Wales,
Where's that?
is up in Rhode Island. It's a culinary
sure.
art school because I always
Oh, nice.
I always knew I wanted to cook.
Okay.
So that's where that was my dream school. And at the time, my grandmother was sick, and we had some family things going on. And my parents was like, "We're not going way up there. I'm sorry." So then it was like, okay, where can I go and play football at? And then I got partial scholarships. It was a school in Camden, New Jersey, and around that time, the New Jersey Drive movie came out, and they were like, "That's a bad area." So I was like, "Damn, there we go again." So I had a option to go either Del State or Del Tech, and I choose to go just to Del Tech and just say I'll just work and still do what I got to do and take care of the family. So I chose to go to Del Tech and put my football dreams off to the side.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, you don't have to, because now. So I was reading somewhere, Facebook brings up everything. There's a 53-year-old guy playing college football. Have you ever thought about going back? Maybe doing it? If you just experienced the one snap.
Yeah.
Just the one time you're on that field and you hear the crowd of 16 people screaming, "Tank, please, Tank!" You know what I mean? Has that ever even crossed your mind, maybe?
At one point, it did, because even when I seen that they had like the little semi-pro football leagues around here, I thought about doing that as well. But I was okay with just saying we had our run. I had a lot of fun. Those were some of the best days of my life back then, because that was like the highlights of my year. I knew when we played football, we had a pretty decent team too. So I knew that we were going to be good, and I knew we were going to compete because, Milford back in the day had made ESPN because they had went 4 straight years without winning a football game. And like we vowed in middle school that when we got there, we would not go through the same thing. So the team that we did have, and we didn't have all the talent because a lot of people just refused to play for Milford because they were a terrible franchise at the time.
Oh.
So he had people that were talented that could have added to the team that just refused to play because they didn't believe that we could be the ones that made the difference. So the guys that we did, we ended up changing Milford's history because we went 5-5, but we had the first non-losing season, and it pretty much opened the door for the teams, down the road to actually have the opportunity to say, "Hey, man, we're better. We're not losers. We're not doorsteps." Because that's what everybody looked at Milford like. Okay, you guys are the doorstops, whatever.
Put a
Like,
second team in, we'll be fine.
Yeah, we're good. Like, we're gonna come through Milford, whatever. That's a guaranteed win. You put us on the schedule.
Yeah, that's
And we actually kind of changed the culture. I mean, we had a good team that year, and sometimes it's bittersweet looking back because we lost, I think, three or four games that year. No, 4 games that year by less than a touchdown. And those are games that we should have had probably won.
Right.
Different reasons why we didn't win those games, but you look back and you're like, man, we were that close to greatness.
Yeah, and that's crazy. You think about, you're 0-40 for 4 years because I think it's a 10-game schedule, and then you start winning, and then the good thing is when you start winning, people start noticing, and they're like, okay, well maybe. They lost one. Oh, they're kind of antsy. The problem is a lot of people want to be, the difference makers. They don't want to be like, oh, well, I made a difference. Instead, I mean, we still deal with it as adults.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, I could do this, but, it's so much easier if I do this. You know what I mean? Oh, I can play football. Well, I could just chill with my people. You know what I mean? People need to understand that, you got to go out there. You got to put yourself out there to a certain degree. Some people don't. I understand. That's the way they are, But I think being out there and making that difference is so much bigger, and it also intertwines with mental health. Because if you don't want to do that, you could lead yourself down a bad road, And if you look at it as being a child, well, it'd be teenager. Let me rephrase that because everyone underneath me, under the age of 25, is like a child anymore. You know what I mean? You look at them, But I shouldn't look at them that way. They are young adults, and they're making the world when we're gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's amazing that you sit there and think about it after the fact that you're like, man, like. This guy played, or this guy played, or this guy played. Man, I knew that guy was great, but man, he was more worried about his people. Come on, man. Like, you wonder sometimes, like, why people did that. Just because there was a losing franchise, and being in the school district, first is academics. You got to have good grades, plain and simple. Because if you don't have good grades, you can't play. You know what I mean? But it just sometimes makes you wonder why they didn't go, even though it was a losing football team. Enjoy yourself while you're in school because that's your best times of your life.
Absolutely.
I mean, granted, and then it becomes bills and bills and more bills and more bills. Then you get children, then you get more children, then you get animals and dogs and cars and houses, and before you know it, man, you're like 46-year-old going, what just happened? You go back and reflect. You're like, man, I wish I'd done more when I was younger. And that's the biggest thing. But I mean, the good thing is like you. I guess you say come to peace with the fact that football's past, and everything, and then from there when you went to to KFC, what was your next step from there?
Well, I actually had got to the point where I was at KFC for so long, you kind of lose sight on is this what I really want to do, and it's like what else is out there for me. So at one point I left and I went to Renter Center, and I was working for Renter Center, and it was interesting. It was a different change of pace because I'm used to being in the kitchen in a restaurant all the day, and then now I'm working for Renter Center. I'm in a truck driving down the road and dropping off furniture, picking up furniture, harassing people. Hey, where's my money? So
that's gotta be scary to a point though.
So it just got to the point where I'm kind of glad that it happened because it let me realize I was already where I needed to be, or that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in the kitchen. That's where I was comfortable at. And when the position I had at KFC, I was supervising a lot of young kids. So I was that person they were coming to with all of their troubles. They were confiding in me and things. Sometimes I wish they didn't because they felt comfortable with me and they could relate to me. So that's why I'm saying that it was developing me to be the person I'm now because I was doing the things back then that I didn't realize I was actually doing. I was helping people outside of my job. Like just being there as a boss was one thing, but I was helping people with things bigger than what they were dealing with.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm
So
just
they pretty much look to you as a confidant.
yeah,
And it was like,
absolutely.
listen, this is what's going on in my life.
Yep.
So do you think I should do something differently? And then you give the advice, and we all will always give good advice and bad advice.
Mhm.
We never do perfect. That's the God honest truth. But the thing is, the fact that they confided in you, it makes you feel a certain way. It
Yeah.
makes you feel like, I guess you say, like, you're looked up to.
Yeah.
Like a big brother, or some people has called me dad back in the day, but at the same time, it makes you feel a certain way, and it makes you feel really good inside.
Yeah.
So I mean, did that start, I guess, moving the chains or the wheels in the head and start moving different ways?
It was just something that I always done because that's how I had certain people in my life that did that for me. So for me to be able to do that for someone else, whatever, it's just like it was just something that was naturally done. I didn't want any pats on the back or any applause for what I was doing. It was just natural to me.
Yeah, it was second nature.
It's
pretty
second
much.
nature, pretty much.
It's because you had that pillars in your life in the beginning, and these people that are coming to you don't have them pillars. So you feel like, to a certain degree, you're like, well, let me see what they got to say, let me help you a little bit. You're not saying it that way, but you're like, I would probably do this, or, maybe you should do this, or maybe, have you thought about this? A lot of things, so, that's fantastic to learn about you, because there's a lot of things I don't know about you. I actually, like I said, we hung out, back at the time when we were, what were you, 21? 20?
About that.
We'll
Yeah.
go with 21 for legal sake.
Yeah.
So back in the time when I lived in Farmington, there was friends that would come over, and he was one of the friends that were coming over. There was I would say 4 guys and 2 ladies. I
Yeah,
believe.
about that.
Yeah, and that was really interesting sometimes. But I mean, that's when we were into this pro wrestling thing.
Yeah.
We started watching pro wrestling and stuff, and we had our own little. So I think we had. I want to. If I'm wrong, let me know. We had 2 bed mattresses outside,
Yep.
and we would sit there and act like we're pro wrestlers in the middle of 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the night.
Ooh, some backyard
And
wrestling.
No, front yard wrestling.
Front yard
Front yard
wrestling.
We were literally in the
We were
front
the front
yard.
yard.
Yeah. Like literally, we were right there, and like we're sitting there wrestling, messing around, just having fun, just enjoying ourselves and stuff like that. And every Monday there was this thing called Raw Was War. It was from the WWF back then, which now it's WWE. And we used to watch it all the time, and we used to have fun. We used to, I guess you say, entertain ourselves with certain beverages and have a good time. That's how I'll put it. You know what I mean? I mean,
Drink that water.
Yeah, the water was great.
Yeah,
you know what I
water
mean?
was good.
Yes,
That flavored water.
and sometimes the water was in shot glasses. That's all I'm gonna say. But I mean, we did a lot of that stuff, and it's funny because, like, bringing that in now, we laugh about it, but like, we had so much fun doing it. Like,
Yeah.
It was just 4 people just having fun, and you have 2 girls and roaming around all over the place. And at that point in time, I do believe my baby mama was living with me at that point. So Alexis, my daughter, she was in the womb, sitting there, kicking everybody. So back then we had, do our thing in the front room. My ex would be in the bedroom because she didn't want nothing to do it. She was
Nothing.
miserable.
Yeah, she wanted nothing to do
she
with
was
that.
miserable, and I'm not gonna blame her. She had my child. God bless her. I love her to death. Even though my ex-baby mama don't love me to death at all. She wish I was on a stake right now, probably. But, I mean, at the end of the day, she gave me my daughter. So there will always be love, even though I don't have to say I love her. There will always be that love. So then it's funny, you think about it, we talk about that. We fast forward, and all of a sudden, I see you doing photography for pro wrestling. So how does that all come about? Like, I think before that you were doing photography a little bit, maybe a lot. I don't remember. So tell me how we went from
KFC
KFC to photography to pro wrestling photography, if you don't mind.
Well, to get to the photography aspect, that pretty much ties into me losing my job at KFC. So now in my mind, I'm like, what can I do to never be in a position for a company to stop my income?
Okay. Yeah.
So long story short, I go on from KFC. They pretty much wrongfully fired me. So I did collect money, whatever, for a while, and they gave me time to sit down because around the time that I did get fired from KFC, my mother had got sick. So it kind of let me spend my last days with my mom because I didn't have a job anymore. So I went through that process, buried my mom. We had some family drama that came up. I ended up losing my home. So now I'm with my fiance and I'm depressed, lost my job, pretty much lost my way because that's pretty much all I knew. And she started doing event coordinating. So I'm going out with her, sitting in the back of the room because I'm depressed, don't want to be there. Kind of with my head down, like, man, what am I gonna do? Where am I going from here? And
So one question before you go any farther.
Mhm.
So during the depression right now, and you're sitting in the back, were you feeling like a burden to a point, or like what would you say the depression felt like? Like in my opinion,
it was,
in your opinion.
looking back at it, it's like I was just going through a phase, man. Like I would say that being that I had a responsibility to my fiance and her son was keeping me afloat because I really didn't want to be there, but I'm showing up because I'm supporting her.
Supporting her. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm
understand.
being a good man. I'm supporting her vision, and she had a passion for this, and she was good at it. So I'm like, I'm just gonna show up, sit in the back, and chill,
Yeah.
and just support her. And she's like, take a camera and start taking pictures of these events. So now I'm like, here we go. I'm introverted. I'm depressed. I don't want to be here, but I'm gonna be a team player. And to make a long story short, that thing
Oh, we got a long time. Go ahead.
blessed. It blessed me because I was able to get out of my comfort zone, walk around these rooms sometimes, and people are looking at me, and we're both feeling awkward because I don't want to be doing it. You don't want to get your picture taken, and I just started taking pictures of these events, and so after I started doing it for a little while, I started getting a little more comfortable with it. So I invested in her a camera, a DSLR camera, Canon, and that was like her first camera. So I gave it to her as a gift, and she said, "I don't know what you're giving this to me for. You're gonna be the one using it." And I was like, "Duh, here we go."
Man, I'm here now.
So now I'm here. So I go to YouTube University and start reading all these tutorials, listening to different videos, learning how to work these cameras and different things.
Did you say YouTube University?
YouTube
Yeah.
University that I'm accredited.
You're credited. Okay.
So so
Nice.
that's my school, and I'm sticking to that.
Okay, I'm cool.
So
with
Man, I want to go there.
so yeah, I went to YouTube University and pretty much learned like pretty much anything I could possibly learn because I was like, you know, if I'm gonna be doing this for her or whatever, I want to at least, you know, what I mean,
that. Do it right.
do it right. So I started learning, going out with the camera, just going out taking pictures of like birds, trees. Kind of want to learn how to work the camera. They had a lot of controls and dials on it I've never seen before. I'm like, man, this thing is complicated. I used to do a little
Yeah,
point and shoot.
point and shoot, right.
I had a point and shoot that you just put it on one of the modes and just start firing away. So I started learning how to work the camera, and I started taking pictures of different things. And I got to the point where I started getting comfortable posting my work I was taking online. And people started asking, who took these photos? And I'm like, I did. Like, that's why I posted it through my page. So they were like, they're pretty good. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is something. So make a long story short, I'm steady posting pictures of different things. I'm going to different events. I'm going to games. I'm doing family functions, and I'm bringing my camera everywhere I go because I want to get good at this thing. And I started investing in, you know, lighting, equipment, and different things to make sure we had better quality photos. And people just started, hey man, would you like to come to my event? You like to come to this, do my wedding? And I'm like, I'm not a photographer. I mean, I do this as like a little hobby for my wife, but I'm not a photographer. They're like, no, we seen your work. You have good work. I'm gonna pay you X amount of dollars to shoot my wedding. It's informal. It's just a small wedding. We want you to be our wedding photographer. And when they told me that number, I'm like, you gonna pay me that much to take pictures for a couple hours? And then my entrepreneurial spirit started going off. I'm like, I might be able to turn this into a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. I actually started with that one little engagement, and people started referring me, and it turned into a side hustle for me.
So, was there any picture before this became a side hustle that if you went back that made you go, I'm really good at it? Or you have sit back and go, wow, that was a fantastic picture. I can't believe I took that. Or something like that. Anything like
Yeah, there was a few. Like I would go to like a park or something
Mm-hmm.
and see a scene, and I would take a picture, and I'm like, this looks like one of those little screensavers on your computer. And I'm like, maybe I am pretty good at this thing, because like I said, it's photography is an art,
I
and
agree.
it's pretty much on how you see the world. So when people be like, oh, photography this, photography that, that's what you make it.
You're right.
Like everybody has a different style, everybody has a different perspective on life. So if you can put that perspective into your art, then who am I to say that's not good photography?
That's true, but I think everyone has their own little signature.
Yeah.
You know, I believe, I think, what your signature is, someone else is different.
Mhm.
That was the thing, like, when you take photos, there's people all the time, they do photography, and I'll look at someone, I'm like, oh man, that's a great picture, or they'll take another one, I'm like, ooh, that was rough, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But, who am I to judge? I
Yeah.
mean, everyone has a certain way about them, and I understand that totally. So I was just wondering if there was just like one picture, or was there any picture that you got emotional about, or you sit there and go, kind of get them, wow, man, you just kind of sit back and go, wow, that was, just blows you away. You know what I mean?
I've been doing it for so long now, I wouldn't say there's like one picture in particular. But when I'm doing events and I'm telling my clients, they don't understand the power of these photos, because there's always someone who ended up passing away, or things that happen. And then now I'm looking at my photo on someone's obituary. And it's like, that's a wow moment, because it's like,
Yeah.
I provided that family with a great picture of their loved one.
A moment.
A moment.
A moment that,
That-
they can never take back. And
and-
never, you can never go forward because they're gone now.
And then that's what photography does for me. It's like, I don't have a lot of memories growing up, because we had like 2 house fires when I was growing up. So like almost all my childhood memories are gone. So to be able to provide somebody with a service that I know and how important it is, it's almost a blessing to me. That's why, like, when I'm doing it, I'm into it, because I understand the value of these memories, even though sometimes my clients don't.
Yeah, you're the education that you went through, and I mean, just looking at YouTube University, and stuff that you starting to experience in the beginning, you're like, wow, these are what I know now, and I can pass this to the client. Say, this is what can happen, this is what will happen, and down the road you'll cherish this moment. What I give to you, and I offer my position, what I do, and that's really fantastic. So going from there, you build up your business. So where did the professional wrestling thing came in?
So the wrestling thing came in. We were taking my son to a indie wrestling show. I didn't know that they had indie shows around here, because I mean, we were watching Raw and Nitro,
Yep.
and we were watching that wrestling on TV. But I did not know that they were doing indie shows in this area.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, hey man, come over to the fire hall, and we got an indie show going on. And I'm like, indie show going on? What do you mean? Like pro wrestling? I'm like, all right, well, I'll take my son over there for his birthday.
Yeah.
Like, get a couple of the cousins or whatever, and I took him out there to a show, and I ended up like, man, they're actually doing professional wrestling in my area. Like, where the hell have I been at? So, needless to say, I went to the show, and I think I was more excited than the boys were, because that was always like one of our dreams. We
Yeah.
talked about starting our own promotion back in the day, and
Yes.
we always loved professional wrestling, and that's something that always would be like my first love, because back to my grandmother would introduce me to pro wrestling.
Really,
And
she's
my
the one.
grandmom was the one that introduced me to pro wrestling, and that was our thing. We watched wrestling, and I'll tell you a funny story. My grandmother loved Bruno San Martino. And one day, Bruno had got attacked by Larry Zbyszko. You remember the infamous
Yeah.
beatdown, right? And he beat him bloody. My grandma got so upset that she had a heart attack
That's crazy.
and had to pretty much scale back watching wrestling. And I joke with some of my wrestling friends that's in the business, and I was like, my grandmom had this thing. It was the Lord and Bruno San Martino. So she loved her Bruno.
Wow. That's wow. Sorry about the heart attack.
Yeah, but she
it is-
really
it's,
she had a heart attack, a legit
Wow.
heart attack because Bruno got beat down.
that
Damn.
bad.
She was that
Wow.
invested in Bruno.
I remember reading about it. I mean, you see like videos in here because it's all pretty much black
Yeah.
and white. It's barely colored,
Mhm.
and like I remember seeing it. And I was like, oh, okay, nothing big. I didn't know it affected so many
Yeah,
people, you
man.
know?
Like Bruno
Like-
was that was her man.
Wow, that's one heck of a story there.
Oh yeah, I got some
You know.
stories when it comes to pro wrestling, man. Like because like I said, it's always been a part of my life, man.
You know, and that's a good thing because I mean we got plenty of time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, as long as you got plenty of time, I got plenty of time, or we can do another one. I mean, I'm cool with whatever you want to do, man. Like way we're going right now, we're going on a great path. But still continue. Like you went to this indie show in Melbourne, I take it, or was it Houston?
That
or-
one was I think was it Greenwood? I want to say it
Might have
was.
been Greenwood,
It was.
yes.
I think the first show was in Greenwood.
Okay,
that,
so-
that I went to.
So you were in Greenwood, and then did you have your camera with you?
Actually, the first time I think I had it with me, but it was like a different point and shoot camera. Like I didn't have the DSLR. I think at the time when we did this birthday party, and then later on they started having shows in Farmington. That's
Yep.
when I had the DSLR, and I started taking pictures from behind the rail, and just so happens we started going to a lot of the indie shows in the area. And we started going to different ones. I did was DCW. That's what we first started going to, and then we found out about 1CW, and I'm like, man, you got DCW, 1CW, and then we went to PPW, Power Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like 3 promotions,
Within 20 minutes of
like
each other.
right around here. Like this is crazy.
Oh yeah.
So we started going to the shows. I started taking pictures from around the guardrails and letting the kids get pictures with a lot of the wrestlers. And just so happened, one day I was taking pictures and I was posting them online, and some of the guys were getting tagged in them. And one of the promoters, hey man, I've seen your work. You take good pictures. Would you like to come backstage and do one of my shows? Why not? I've always wanted. That was like a dream come true for me. You know what I mean? Like I really wanted to somehow get into pro wrestling, and this was my opportunity to get in. So Sean Hardy of 1CW invited me backstage. He was the very first person who seen something in my work, and he thought that it was of value and could add to his show, and he invited me backstage to take pictures for his promotion.
Wow.
Damn.
That's crazy. And from there, it just grew.
It just grew.
You went to several other places. Didn't
Yeah.
You?
So like I got after that, I was doing photos for 302 Pro Wrestling when 302 came in, and Kevin Brittenham, God rest his soul, he brought me in that organization with Ron Faison, God rest his soul as
Yep.
well. And those were two of the guys that I would say that really valued photography. Because some promotions, they just want you to just take pictures and blast on their page and for the flyers, but they actually valued it in a different way. They was like, we want to make you guys a part of the show. Like you guys are a big part of how we get exposure.
Yeah.
And they actually had me, like when they bring a big star in, I was the person that pretty much was that person's like handler. So
Interaction,
I'm
everything.
getting pictures with the fans with that person. I'm setting them up, whatever, and with a backdrop and getting a photo of them as well. So my portfolio got kind of built with 302 because I was meeting decent sized stars, and I'm working with them one on one. So I'm talking to them, I'm getting to know them as people, and I started developing relationships with a lot of pro wrestlers that either I was watching on TV, or I grew up watching, or I'm just watching now, or I'm meeting and finding out who they are now. And some of those guys are on TV now and wrestling different promotions.
Yeah, I mean, indie promotion is pretty much your starting point, and you just build up from there.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, I mean, if you put it in the baseball terminology,
Minor league.
Minor
it may
league.
be minor league, right? Yeah, you're right. So I mean, and that's the thing, man. Like, you did 302, you did all these ones. I saw where you were meeting different wrestlers, and you also met people in the business as well as the photographers and the promoters. I mean, was there ever like a situation where like was maybe a little bit too much for you, or was there ever a point where you were dealing with somebody that was too much for you or anything like that?
Well, you always gonna have those type of situations when you're dealing with different personalities, and some of these wrestling personalities sometimes can go over the top with ego and different, gimmicks, whatever that they persuade or into the ring, and some of them are actually even more louder backstage. So I've never really had any like crazy situations as far as like anyone attacking me or anything like that. But I did have a certain superstar who pretty much wouldn't acknowledge me, and he basically treated me like crap.
Wow.
And it was like I was a fan of the person, so it was kind of like, dude, like this dude, like really?
So you were starstruck, but at the same time, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What I mean? So there was a good chance that day would have been the day that they caught Tank's hands. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, he could have caught the
Yeah,
hands.
that's what I-
like
is that
if
what
I
it
wasn't, I mean, being a professional, he would have caught the hands because he came off a little disrespectful and he brushed me off, and I'm like, dude, I'm here to do one job for the promoter, and he would not let me do that job, and he refused to take a picture with me, and not with me, take a picture of him.
All right.
Because I just needed a picture of him for the promoter, and he refused.
Wow.
Literally.
So you only had to deal with him one time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he wasn't the main top star in like any other promotion, but like he is coming down from being a major star.
No,
at that
this
point.
guy is a major star, and
now.
if I said this name, you'll be like, wow.
Well, I'm not going to ask because you know what? We won't do that today.
Yeah, we won't
I'm
do
going to
that.
ask after the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very interested because that's sad that someone thinks they're above everybody just because hey, you're good at it. Congratulations. But why are you gonna sit there and literally treat me like I'm a piece of shit? And that would have made me mad.
Trust me, I was upset, but I
nah.
mean, like I said, I was trying to be professional about it, and I'm like, look, dude, like, I only need like 2 seconds of your time.
Mhm.
I get it that you're preparing for your match before. You have plenty of time. You're the main event. You're the headliner. So let's just take this one picture and get it over with because the promoter wants one photo of you. And I didn't get any picture of that guy the whole night, and he just kind of brushed me off. Wait later, wait before the match, wait this, and he just brushed me off all night to the point I felt like I'm chasing you around for something that you should be just letting me do.
Do it, yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm not doing this for my sake. I'm not fanboying you right now. I'm here to take a picture for the promoter. And he
Gotcha.
pretty much brushed me off all night to the point I went to the promoter and I told him what was going on, and he never got it handled. So, it
So-
was,
Hey, you were just doing your job.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
just doing my job.
So the promoter didn't do their job completely as well. You would say.
I mean, I don't know if it was just so much going on at the time, because when the promoter is making sure everything is going right, and they got different things that they're doing backstage. But I did let them know, like, look, the guy is not taking the photo for me, like, and I feel like I'm chasing him down for something that he should just willingly do. It's going to take 2 seconds.
So, big question. Are you still a fan of that guy?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure, man.
No.
Like, I've been like, yo, I'm
Yeah,
done with
when
you.
you showed me who
Yeah,
you are,
Mm-hmm.
like at the end of the day, and I don't know if he was under the influence or whatever was going on with him, but you showed me who you are. I got to believe who you are.
I think
Yeah.
I know where you're going with that one. But anyway, so doing all that, being a photographer, pro wrestling. I mean, with the
Wait,
story.
hold on. You're still doing the photography for wrestling events?
When
or-
I can,
When you
I
can.
actually have my business has actually grown to the point now where my weekends most of the time are pretty much taken up. So I will pop in a show every now and then if I can. I might take a few pictures. I might not. I just might just interact with the guys in the back, and we just sit and chat and talk and reminisce, and we're still family.
That's what it's all about,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I know. I see every once in a while you do a toy for tots and
Yeah.
stuff, and it's with the Briscoes.
Yeah.
I know you guys are close.
Yeah,
I
me
see
me
that.
and me and Jay are really close. I mean, me and Mark, we're cool.
Yeah.
Mark, aka Chicken.
Yeah.
He calls me the Big Rooster.
Mm-hmm.
So we're tight, and those guys when I look at those guys, I met them at a PPW show, and the fact that they're from Laurel, Delaware, they
Are you sure it's
wrestle
Laurel or Sandy Fork?
Sandy Fork, but
Make sure you- make sure- yeah,
it's still Laurel.
But make sure you better say that right, because if
Sandy
they accidentally
Fork.
hear this podcast, they'll be like, well, I thought we were from Sandy Fork. You know?
Well, yeah, they're from Sandy Fork, Delaware, Laurel, Sussex County, and I'm looking at them and I'm seeing two brothers live my dream. So I'm looking at them like, look, they're living my dream. So to see someone for where you're from and not be envious, and you just basically just happy for those guys. So I normally wasn't really taking pictures with wrestlers, whatever, at the time. So I took a picture of those guys because I was just inspired by their story.
Yeah.
So we took a picture together, and then later on down the road, whatever, we see each other passing through, blase, start doing events together, and I started to get to know Jay, and you know, Jay is more intense, like, but the guy, like, I'm telling you, it's not many guys you meet in the business that is humble and respectful of Jay, and
Gotcha.
he earned my respect because not only is he a small business owner, he's living his dream, he's a family guy, they coach, and they do a lot in the community. And anytime we've asked Jay to come out to any event we've had, if he could do it, he's always showed up. And
That's
that to
good.
me means more than anything, because some of the indie guys, you can ask them to come out and they want to know how much you're going to pay them to do community work.
Yeah, that's
So when you have a guy that's a superstar and he has a busy life, he has a family, business, and all that, and he shows up and he genuinely out there hugging people, taking pictures, and just happy to be there, he has my respect.
yeah. Because I mean, if you really want to look at it, we'll talk about the indie guys compared to Jay. They're like a piece of corn compared to the cob, and because Jay Briscoe and Mark, his brother, are very well known in the industry, and they've been all over the countries, and they've been to Japan and all them places.
Mexico,
Mexico, like,
everywhere.
You figure they fly, so they're pretty much elite. You know, you're
Yeah.
pretty much putting them in the upper echelon. Like I would say they're, I think was it this past year they had some big match with was it
FTR twice.
Yeah, and it's actually going to be one of the matches of the year nominees. So you figure what is there probably like almost 1 million matches out there, and they're going to be in the top 5.
Now, are they
matches.
pro wrestlers?
Yes,
Or they're pro-
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't watch.
See, they wrestle
much.
for a company called Ring of Honor, which is pretty much, it's like a mid-major. So most of the guys that you see on like WWE, a lot of those guys wrestle for Ring of Honor, and then they decided to go to WWE to be a little more like stardom.
Gotcha.
But Daniel Bryanson and all of those guys, they actually wrestled Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens. A lot of those guys that you see, Seth Rollins,
Started
they,
in
they
Ring of
all
Honor.
wrestled in Ring of Honor.
And that's like a stepping stone, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing, what was it? Jason Jay. He sent a picture. It was a video of I think it was Ellendale. They threw streamers.
Yeah.
And the one guy sold a streamer. Like it might be like a quarter a pound. He hits him.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Are you
Yeah,
great?
that
This
was
is
Mark.
great."
Yeah, Mark sold
Yeah.
the streamer. Like he
Yeah.
literally got hit by a streamer and sold it.
Yeah, that,
So,
was,
like,
that was pretty cool. Like,
awesome
I thought
stuff,
that was funny
man.
Because I mean, I grew up with wrestling. The generation below us. I mean, wrestling will always be here. But just seeing it makes a kid happy.
Yep.
Because to them, they're with a superstar. Even if their name only is around from Delaware, that's a superstar. Oh my God, they look up to somebody. Because like I was saying about our podcast, most podcasts are run by people that already have their name out there and stuff like that. We don't have to be superstars. We can be our own.
Yeah.
And if we just help one person, it means the world.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about for us. And I remember, looking like, you coming up with the tank mentality, and I was like, man, what's going on here? I kept on trying to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out completely, which now I'm starting to know more because, I'm more open to seeing things. Being, like I think I said on one podcast, when you're running and hustling all the time, you never stop to see what's going around. And then when you finally stop, you miss so much, but you start from where you're at. And then you see around everything. And I mean, like your tank mentality movement has been so great. I mean, I mean, I've seen you down. Sometimes you're in Chrisville, I do believe, aren't you?
Yeah, crab feast.
Crab. So you go down there for a crab feast?
Yeah, I
or-
just missed the one on Wednesday too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I missed it. I was having some migraines, and my wife said we're not going today. So
You gotta push through that, man.
I know
You gotta be like,
I
"Yo."
wanted to push through it, but she said the boss shut me down.
Yeah,
She
well,
said no, we're not going.
Listen, sometimes you gotta say, listen, I get one override button.
Yeah.
Okay, one per year. Can I override this right here, please?
Nah, she shut me
Please.
down. I mean,
Oh.
it was a good thing. I mean, my blood pressure was up pretty high, and
Yeah, and,
So-
and that's
Yeah, you would have
crazy.
felt like crap while you
Yeah.
were there.
I would have still ate. I'd be like this, like, yo, take me home, you know.
So-
But I can understand that, you know, and that's the thing, you know, being where older, we get more, unhealthy,
Yeah.
unfortunately. You know, so I guess blood pressure is something. Is there
Mhm.
anything else? That,
Nah.
just blood pressure.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm waiting for the diabetes to come in. It still hasn't, but
Yeah.
sooner or later it will happen. I know. My whole family have diabetes. They had cancer. I hate it. I got to stop it. I got to learn how to stop it. And that's something I got to,
Right.
overcome. And hopefully that will happen soon.
right.
But back to you, tank, mentality movement. What would you say is the goal for it? The overall goal.
I'm gonna give you a fun fact too. My original slogan was it I will? It's I can, I will, I conquered. I changed it because Jay Briscoe told me to keep grinding on my slogan. And the respect I have for him, I actually took the I will off. So our slogan is I can, I conquered, keep grinding. Because it's like you had to believe it first.
Yep.
You do the work, and then to keep grinding is you never stop. So that kind of ties into what your movement. You asked me the question about the movement.
Yeah.
My goal is to inspire people, show people that there is a way, show people that they can overcome whatever they're going through. So it's a bit of mental health. It's a bit of passion, purpose. It's a bit of everything. You can kind of tailor tank mentality to wherever you want it to fit, because I just want to inspire. I want to create change. I want to show people that we can be remarkable. We don't have to settle for whatever it is that people think that we incapable of doing. We can actually go out here and actually make something happen with the life and the opportunity that we do have.
Right.
I totally agree with that.
Yep.
And that's something big. Like, I know that there's so many outfits out there, to do, mental health and stuff.
Mhm.
But I feel yours is unique. I feel yours is not catered just one mental health, it's all. Because like mental health is in so many subcategories. I mean, it could be just, from a death or from, your childhood or stuff like that. And that slogan like embraces a lot of that in one thing, The biggest thing is to keep grinding,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll get where you need to go. You know, I know so many people go through a mental health stage where they sit there and they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I mean, seeing the homeless that go by my workplace, they'll say something to me. I'm like, "How you doing?" Blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, listen, there'll be an end of the tunnel soon. That light will show. I say, but you can't sit there and direct hope on that light. You have to make it happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can't be given anything because in the world we're not given nothing. You know what I mean? I mean, just about maybe the air. That's about it. But I mean, that's a big thing, man. I mean, that kind of touches my heart. Knowing that slogan. I didn't know that was part of the slogan.
Yeah,
I
man.
remember to conquer, and I was like, when you just said that, I was like, I think that was it. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's good
So if
though.
I turn around there.
I like that. Definitely, we're gonna have to get shirts. I mean, so where can we find the shirts at?
So I do have a page like the Tank Mentality. It's on Instagram and Tank Mentality Movement on Facebook. And there is an online store that you can actually purchase products on there.
Oh wow.
So like I said, I just want to retool some things. I want to get a better distributor because I do like the fulfillment site that I'm using. But I just want to be able to have a little more control and actually speed up the time that people can get their products.
Okay.
So they can do rush shipping. That
Yeah.
actually helps with certain products. But I just want to make it a little more better and I actually offer more products. So
That makes sense.
so that's why I said I want to probably relaunch in 2023 and do some things different too.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, for right now, do you want to tell people where they can buy your merch?
So, like I was saying, right now you can find it right on Facebook.
Facebook?
It's Tank Mentality Movement, and on Instagram it's Tank Mentality.
Okay.
So there is an online store that they can actually purchase products, T-shirts, hoodies, and different things they can purchase on there with my
Through
logo.
Facebook, or is there a
Yes,
link direct?
there's a link right
Okay.
on there.
Okay.
So can I get boxers?
No, that's why I said.
Why not?
That's why I said you got to start somewhere. And like I said,
Well,
I
I
started
understand that.
with just one T-shirt, and like
Gotcha.
to the point where I actually have quite a few products on there. Like they can get coffee mugs and stickers, and I actually brought you guys some stickers too.
I appreciate that.
thank
We'll
you.
definitely
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
definitely take them. Because that's things that with our little thing here. This is just kind of like a laugh because like we started the podcast as just kind of something to do.
Yeah,
But we're starting to realize that we're starting to branch out. Like we got people from Argentina listening to us, other countries, which threw us off big time because we were only trying to focus on Eastern Shore. So now we're like, okay, hold on, we're wide spanning that we didn't even know about. So, and I'm glad that you came on because this also will help you as well. And I mean, I believe small business is where it's at. There's so many Walmarts and Amazons people use, but the small business is getting out of like pretty much style anymore. And we need to help each other at the same time.
absolutely.
The biggest thing, I take away is the fact that, you started when you were what, 34, 35 when the Take Mentality movement?
It was 2015.
2000. So you're looking at what, 8 years in, 7 years in right
Yeah,
now.
pretty much.
And I mean, you do so much for the community as well. I mean, some of the stuff for the community, what exactly do you do? I mean, just asking.
So me and my wife, we both have like huge hearts. So you can find her on Facebook, Katra McDonald Miller. She has a resource room called Katra's Resource Room, and she is a dot connector. She doesn't really like to be in the spotlight, but she embraces it.
I
But
understand
she actually works with a lot of different organizations, churches, and different community leaders, and she provides resources.
that. Oh, okay.
So she also is a peer support
Mm-hmm.
provider with Champions for Children Mental Health.
Gotcha.
So she does peer support for kids that have special needs. So basically, she's there for the parent to help them kind of navigate the mental health system, find resources, someone for them to have natural supports. Because a lot of time when you have kids with mental health diagnosis, you're being judged by your family, your friends, and sometimes they say some hurtful things that that they might not mean into, but they don't understand how it is to have someone with a special needs.
Yeah.
So when you actually have someone that actually been through that, so they can kind of relate to, it's important to have someone that's relatable,
Yes.
that can actually help you get through the storm and show you that there is hope or there is a way, because I'm going through the same thing you are. We're in this together.
Well, see, I think the first time I ever noticed your wife was stream couponing.
Yeah, she
was,
oh
like,
my god,
Big and it's a stream because I was sitting there because I can't remember what it was, but I think she it was like $400 for like $20 or something like that. Like it was
Yo,
ridiculous.
she
and
was
I'm just
ridiculous.
like, what's going on, man? Like we gotta get with this person so we can save money.
Yo.
Like I mean, I
Yo,
can only imagine.
She is because like what happened was when we both were not working.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting unemployment. She had got hurt, so neither one of us was working. So I mean, I did have income coming in from unemployment, but she learned how to coupon. And when I tell you she went crazy with it, she was going in the stores and sometimes they were paying her back.
Paying her back.
Yeah, but that some
Yeah.
of them changed their policies and everything. You had to pretty much X out your balance, whatever, with product or whatever. But they were paying her back sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know how you're doing this, but keep it up because you're saving us money. And for a long time, we didn't have to worry about toothpaste and paper towels, toilet paper, and all that stuff. It's like
Wow.
pre-pandemic, whatever.
Yeah.
So like she had toothpaste on deck, body wash, soap, anything you can think of. She had it,
Wow.
and I'm like, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, that's
She's good. She
three-quarters
was
of the
really
stuff you
good.
gotta need, you know what
Yeah,
I
we
mean?
had everything we needed at the time, whatever, because she was just going and using coupons, and she had people that was giving her the coupon mailers and all that stuff, and she knew how to stack them and which store to go to get the best value out of them. Like she knew her stuff, and she
I would
still
say,
does. She
yeah.
just got to the point where she's doing so much now
It's
that
kind
she
of
doesn't
hardcore,
coupon anymore, but she can find a deal. Trust me.
I think I was reading. It was probably like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. It takes almost like 20 to 30 hours to do that because you're going through like online and stuff like that. Look for coupons on there. You get like these things. You cut them out. Then you got to figure out where you're going and stuff. Like, what would you say was the most carts that she ever took out? Was just one or?
Nah, man, we went to Safeway, and I felt like we were robbing the place because we had carts. Like I think it was like 2 carts, and one time she had to come call me to come help her put the stuff in the car because she overdid it, and I had to drive the Dover and help her put the food and stuff in the cart because like she over.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, she knew what she was doing, but she literally had more than what fit in the truck, and I had to come up there and be the second car to get
Wow.
everything else home.
That's
So
funny.
I feel like we out here robbing this place right now. But she was good at it, man.
The worst part is legally. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Well, that's not the worst
Not
part,
the
but
worst
still, it's
part.
pretty worst part because I know the store's going like, oh my god,
Here they come
yeah,
again.
Jesus, yo, just shut the door, lock it. You know what I mean? Like, cause I can't.
But she
even
was
imagine.
cool with it. Like she would let people go by because she knew she was gonna be running a lot of coupons and stuff. So she would let people go in front of her.
So it'd probably take about a couple, like 4 or 5 hours to go shopping.
Man, I never used to. I didn't want to go with her when she went shopping. I was like, look, you gonna handle your business. But I went with her a few times, and like I said, it was fun because I'm just watching the way she goes up and down the aisle and looking at what's on sale and how to stack her coupons and all that stuff. So
And she just knew her stuff.
yeah, she's
completely.
knew her stuff, man.
Wow, that's a great story, and you know that also saves money for a lot of people if they
Yeah.
do it. You know what I mean? Because everyone pretty much has internet,
Yeah.
unless you're not living like in a house.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that's something that I would say is a tool that could save them money down the road.
Yeah,
Because everything is expensive anymore.
yeah.
You know, I mean, what is a tube of toothpaste now? What, $6, $5, something like that? You know, and it's crazy. Just little things like that, extreme couponing. You know, so I mean, so in your opinion, what is your next step with the tank mentality movement? Like, I know you want to rebrand, but
So-
where do you want to take? And also, you do have other side businesses as well.
Yeah.
So definitely, I mean, you're more welcome to talk about them because I'd like to know myself.
Yeah, well, the biggest side business I have is photography.
Yeah.
So that's something that I do. I'm a freelance photographer. Company name is Miller Imaging, and we pretty much just take on clients, based on our schedule because I'm not full time because I don't have the time to be full time. So I turn away a lot of clients sometimes, and that's a good thing
Yeah.
because sometimes it's hard to build up clientele.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not easy. So there's a lot of people that start ventures, and if you don't have the clientele, it can get discouraging because there's times you might go months, whatever, without anybody, and then there's times you might get a booming season, whatever, and you're turning people away. So that's one thing about business that some people don't understand. Like they get into business and they think it's just going to be successful overnight, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody's listening, if you're starting something, I don't want to scare you off, but you have to build clientele, build value, and basically build to give people a reason to want to book you, especially if you're doing something that is like a service or some kind of freelance job.
It's all about patience.
Yeah, that
You know,
takes
you gotta
time.
be
You got to have patience too, because like I said, you want to start today and be successful tomorrow.
It don't
We
work.
want that instant gratification.
Yes, that's
You
the
know,
world today. That is
we
the
want to
world
we want to
today.
be there tomorrow. Like, and then,
Yeah.
like I said, you have to sometimes go through those tough seasons to where it's like, okay, is this what I really want to do? Am I going to invest my time in this? If this is my passion, is this my purpose? Because I believe that you can make money doing almost anything.
Yeah.
But if you just making money, eventually you're going to stop doing it because it's all about the money. Unless,
You're
I mean, some people have different, values or whatever in life. But if you're just doing it for the money, you're either going to start cutting corners or you're not going to put the effort into it or whatever.
Yeah.
So depending on what it is that you're actually doing, if you're just making about the money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wholeheartedly.
So my thing is just being passionate about what I'm doing and your work to have meaning. And
Gotcha.
if you can see something that I'm doing a service to someone, or if I'm doing something that's beneficial to me, like I get like gratification off what I'm doing, just because I can take a photo of a moon and I'm cool with that because that's something that I wanted to do. I love nature. So sometimes I'll take pictures of scenes and nature because that helps my self care. That's something that I would do to say, instead of me being stressed or doing something extra, I can go out with my camera and just take a walk at a park, take pictures of ducks, birds, trees, flowers. And that's something I can do whatever for my own peace.
Yeah.
I don't have to use photography as a tool to make money, because sometimes I don't. It's not about the money. It's just me just picking up my camera and just going out and seeing the world. Like when I travel, I want to see the scenes that I'm looking at on my wallpapers.
Oh yeah, well I see you travel a lot too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
I
a,
noticed that.
I have never been on vacation until I got with my wife.
Oh wow.
So all those years, like even I'll take it back to my childhood. I've never been on vacation. Like we've been places like
Yeah.
little trips, whatever, but I've never been on vacation.
Where you just
And-
relax.
And I started working at 16 up until in my 30s. I'd never been on vacation. I would go on vacation, but I didn't go anywhere. It was just to be a
Yeah.
week off of work,
and just sit there at home.
just sit at home.
Yeah.
So I'd never been anywhere, never took a vacation ever until my wife, she was like, "Nah, we traveling," and I was afraid to fly.
I'm right with you.
So now we're in a dilemma because like I don't want to fly nowhere. I never been nowhere. So what we're doing?
You're gonna be in tin cans. What's going on?
So
You know,
I
I
actually
understand
took my first flight a few years ago, and just so happens I whiffed on the flight, and the flight that my wife took was no longer available. So my first flight, I'm solo.
So you by yourself in this airplane that you do not want to be in.
that I do not want to be in.
Oh wow.
So
You know,
my very first flight was, we were going to Phoenix, Arizona.
Ooh,
So-
nice place.
So we had I was leaving out of BWI, and we had a layover in Chicago. So I'm on this flight, shook. Like, am I gonna make it? So I'm like,
Wow.
I don't want to fly. I'm afraid to fly, but I'm like, you know what? If we're gonna do this thing, whatever, we're not gonna. I'll keep living in fear. So I decided to get on this flight, and my first flight, when we took off, I was shook.
oh, bet so.
But once I got in the air, I was just like, it's not all that bad. Then a little turbulence, and I was like, whoa, shucks. But I mean, it was an experience. And once I landed in Chicago, and I get to Chicago, I'm walking through the terminal to get on the next plane, and I'm wearing a Tank Mentality shirt, and people like, dude, nice shirt. Like, hold up. I'm in Chicago, and people are acknowledging my brand.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it was one of them things. It was like, I was like my aha moment, because I'm like, I have my brand in Delaware, and sometimes people just like, they don't even acknowledge it, won't even comment or anything, whatever. And it's like, this is something special to me, whatever. And it's like, and
Getting around.
and
out
then
of
and then
nowhere.
I go somewhere that no one knows me at all,
Yeah.
and it's like, nice shirt.
Hmm.
So I'm like, wow,
That's kind
might
of a
might be on to something.
yes.
So I guess I lands from Chicago, get to Arizona, and it's a conference. We had a mental health conference because it's a NAMI conference. That's where my wife is at. So I'm going to the conference for her. So we're in the lobby one day, and this is like my big aha moment. This is how I knew that Tank Mentality was something that
More than what
it
you
was
thought
more than what I thought it was, because I started doing it just to basically start a brand and just pretty much inspire myself and then whoever else come along, whatever, so be it.
Yeah.
So I'm in the lobby going live in this mental health conference, and I'm just going around each table, just getting them to say who they are, what organization they with, and what their cause is. So as I'm going around the room, I hear this guy, oh my gosh, Tank Mentality. And I get goosebumps, but I'm trying to be cool because I'm sitting here holding my phone, whatever. And it's almost like the Eddie Murphy moment on Coming to America when he walks into the bathroom and then like the guy's kneeling, like it's the prince, whatever.
Yeah.
And this is kind of how this guy is treating me. And he's like, Tank Mentality. And he starts saying the slogan on the back of my shirt. and he starts telling me that, man, you need to go get this trademark for the singer Tank tried to encroach on your idea, and he just started kind of prophesizing to me, and I'm just like, what the world? This, I don't know this dude from a can of paint, and he's telling me that my brand is amazing, is awesome, and it has value. And now I'm sitting here like, holy crap.
Just like a smack.
I left Sussex County, faced my fear of flying in two separate cities. People have acknowledged my brand and gave me that little seed of belief that it could be bigger than what I ever thought it would be. And that's when I knew that it was bigger than Delaware. It was, and I knew that it was something special about this brand that I needed to keep pushing forward, no matter how hard it got, what I had to do, whatever in my hometown, whatever. I knew that I needed to continue to push it because it was more powerful than I ever thought it could possibly be.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that was my aha moment.
Did you ever find the guy's name?
No, because I still had the video. Like every now and then when it pops up at the time, it's still on Facebook published. And this guy, he's literally like, tank mentality. Like I can still hear his voice in my head, and it's like, and I kind of like down the road, whatever, after that event, whatever, life hits you again, whatever.
Yeah.
So I never went and got it trademarked or any of that stuff, whatever. I'm just doing whatever, just continue to just post my stuff and do different things that I'm doing. But it's like in my head, I heard it again. I think it was like last year, and I was like, you know what? This dude told me this years ago. Why am I waiting?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you another thing too, not to be political. He even said Biden was going to win the presidency in this video. I'm like, this dude was a prophet. Like because he asked me where I was from, and I said Delaware. He was like, oh, Delaware. He goes, that's right. He goes, you're Biden country. Biden's going to win. And I'm like, well, so you done told me tank mentality was awesome. Yep. And you told me Biden was going to win. He won. Okay, let me go get the trademark.
Yeah, you might be good.
Like, this dude is on to something. He's
he knows something I don't know.
Yeah,
you know
so...
what I mean? Definitely.
Make a long story short, yeah, I filed my trademark too, so I'm waiting for that to come back.
How long does that take?
I filed it this year, so I'm still waiting to receive it.
Oh, okay, good.
So
good,
yeah,
good.
so I'm actually, that's why I say I'm getting the ball rolling on things that I need to do for the cement tank mentality. Because like I said, I've been doing it for a while, but I've been kind of just
putting it
out there because I didn't know what direction I didn't know if I wanted to make it a business, if I want to make it a nonprofit. I didn't know what direction I wanted to go with it. So it's just like I'm just doing it.
Yeah, because there's so many ways you can
go, absolutely.
And the thing is, like, you don't know, maybe I should do a nonprofit with
it.
Or, I could actually, make a little coin off it, but at the same time, help people with
exactly.
That too,
and that's always been the mission. That's why I didn't really jump farther into making it a business or doing anything, because my mission has always just been to help. Like, I don't care if it's a business. I don't care if it's an idea. It's a movement.
Yes, it's a movement.
So it's bigger than any dollar that can be attached to it. That's fine if it does monetize itself, but I don't do this to make money.
Correct.
I do this because it's a passion of mine. It's pretty much my purpose in life, because I know what I've been through, and when I was depressed and didn't want to go on, I needed this person that I am today.
Correct.
And for me to be in this position now to actually help other people use my story and just basically encourage people, because sometimes people just need encouragement. They don't need you to push them or pat them on the back or whatever. They just need encouragement. Say, hey man, you can do better.
Some people just need to hear somebody that's been down that road, and it lifts them up, saying, there's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a way. How can I make this way? That's the only thing. Sometimes they just need a little bit of push, help. And I mean, it's just, looking at the story you have so far, I mean, I'm pretty sure, we can go really deep into everything,
Yeah.
And, I mean, it'd just be like, wow, but and I'm cool with that. But, I mean, looking at the whole parameters of things, the overview, like, coming from Milford, picked on when you were in school, played football, put yourself on the map, people calling you brother, made you feel at one with somebody, KFC, they let you go, that, mentally destroyed you, it sounds like. And this lady, this woman that was, I guess, came in after you. Were you with KFC when you left? When KFC left you, or you left KFC?
We had actually just met when I was still working at KFC.
Think that was a sign?
Absolutely, I believe everything's a sign now.
Yeah, like I mean, if you think about it, You get carried, say 15 years. This girl comes to you. Well, this woman comes into your life, and then all of a sudden, KFC lets you go, and then you build with her from here.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of interesting when you say like if you look at the fate of the whole situation, the signs. I would be like, wow, like that's unreal. Like if you think about it, like and she's helped you so much from what you've been telling me, and it's fascinating to me. The fact that we all need that little bit of, I guess you say, push or that little bit of love or that little bit of nurturing to get where we have to be.
Absolutely.
And the fact that she came at the right time, the right place, and I mean, you went on a date with her. I don't. Did you all meet like online or a friend? Or?
No, we actually met through a It was kind of random the way we met because I was dealing with some things and I just happened to go out one night,
Mm-hmm.
and you have that after work you're like, man, where am I going from here?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to go to the bar and have a beer, and I'm sitting there chilling with another one of my friends, and one of her girlfriends knew who I was, so she introduced me. She's like, "Hey, my girlfriend checking you out over there." I don't normally get the checking you out part. It's like I'm usually the chaser. I'm the one running them down. So she's like, "My girlfriend checking you out over there. She think you cute." So I'm like, "Okay." So she introduced herself, kind of flirted a little bit, and just so happened that night we ended up going to Royal Farms, and we end up talking. She takes my phone, puts her number in my phone, give me a call.
Hmm.
I'm like, I ain't never been on this side of this one. I don't know about this. So, make a long story short, I'm like, I'm not going to sweat her. 2 days later, I don't call her. Her girlfriend calls me. Why you didn't call my girl yet? What?
Ooh, that's
So next thing you know, we do. I said I didn't want to sweat her. I didn't want to, make her think I was desperate, nothing like that, whatever.
But you're sweating now.
So,
You're sweating
so
now.
like I said, looking back now, like it's pretty much one of those things where it's like I've never had anybody that wants me, so it kind of made me easier to accept our relationship because it wasn't me being the one that wanted the person, and I've been in a lot of those relationships where I wanted them and they didn't want me,
Yeah.
and it's like the balance is off.
You weren't chasing; they were chasing you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're not used to it, it throws you off.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I've been there.
Yeah.
I know how it feels. You're the one chasing because, I mean, we both have an issue with our weight.
Mhm.
Plain and simple. We're not like kings that we sit there and you're like, oh my god, he looks so great. It's
Yeah.
it's that guy.
Got a good personality.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he can make you laugh. Great personality. It's like that. It's like that Duff. I was a Duff. I'm cool with that. I can be the Duff. Does a ugly fat friend. I'm cool with that. And to be on the other side, it is a very difficult task because like you're not used to it. You don't know how to act.
Mhm.
Oh well, I'm not going to sweat her. And then someone's calling you out, and you're like, wait a minute. What do I do now? Because now you got to make a decision. If you sit there and start texting her, are you thinking you're sweating her? And does she know that you're sweating her? Or now it's, oh, we'll wait another couple of days and stuff. I mean, I have actually a comment on that. So, my last baby mom, so I'm working in the mall, actually work for Airborne Express. So I'm delivering packages. So, before then, I would go to all these businesses and deliver paychecks. Like the Olive Garden, Red Lobster and stuff. So this girl's in Olive Garden, she has this brown on her face, and I'm like, hey, ain't nothing brown about it, baby girl, it'll be fine, just keep on moving, smile a little bit, laugh a little bit, everything's gonna be fine. Walk out, think nothing about it. 2 weeks fast forward, I'm walking down the middle of the mall, I go past the food court, go up to Lens Crafters, come out of Lens Crafters, I'm walking out, and this girl comes up to me, she's like, hi, and I'm thinking, who are you? Like, I have no clue. Like, my mind is completely blank. I was just trying to make her day, make her happy. Just make her smile. She's like, you don't remember me? And I was like, kept on looking at her with one eye, kept on looking at her. And I don't remember. Like I'm not going to sit just say no, but I'm also not going to say yes. So I'm like, help me out a little bit. She was like, Olive Garden, you told me, everything will be all right. Just smile. And I was like, oh, okay, how you doing, blah, blah. We started talking. And then she was like, she made a comment. She was like, I just want to, see if you want to talk sometime and this and that. And I'm like, well, I guess so. I said, I mean, I'm free anytime. And she was like, this was a Thursday, matter of fact. And she was like, well, here's my number. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. She was like, oh, by the way, what, this is what you do for a living? I said, yeah, this is what I do for a living. And she was like, but you can call me on a Wednesday. I said, what, you got somebody else at your house? You trying to get me in the house afterwards? She was like, no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
Monday
I'm
and
just,
Tuesday is taken.
yeah, like, I'm like, what's going on here? And she was just like, no, 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 you can call whenever. I said, let me explain something to you. I will call you tonight. If you do not answer, I'm not going to talk to you because something ain't right, shady. Well, I got my last daughter out of the situation.
Yeah.
In a 7-year relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Right.
So I can understand where you're coming from, because that was the person I was chased.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? So it's kind of funny because we kind of went through a certain different thing, but that's great, man. Like, I mean, you look like you're doing great, man. You really do. Like, I mean, the facts that where you were, where you are now, it's just 100% different. You seem like you're happy in life, and I know you went through a lot of stuff, mentally and
Yeah.
emotionally.
Yeah.
The passings and losing a job that you were with 15 years. I know that had to take a toll on you.
Yeah, it did.
Like,
It did because I mean, I really thought I could have retired there if I had to because I enjoyed what I did.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like every day I would come into work, whatever. I had certain customers that would come in there just to see me, like I said, and then me being running the store a lot of the time closing, and then also I was able to feed people because we had waste sometimes, and a lot of those companies, whatever, they just throw it in the garbage.
Yep.
I was feeding people with that food that I was able to take out.
That's good. Definitely.
So that goes back to the person I always serve. Like,
Yes.
so even today, I still cook because I love cooking. So me and my wife, we will cook for the community. We will cook for the elderly. We will cook for the homeless because I enjoy cooking and I don't need anybody to say, hey man, congratulations or good job, whatever. No, I love cooking. So if I can cook a meal for someone, I'll give it to them. And I don't have to charge you for a meal.
And so
Because we're able to actually, we're blessed enough to be able to have food, or we have donations sometimes. And we were working with Code Purple, Love Inc. and Seaford, and we were actually during the pandemic. Me and my wife provided a meal every Tuesday and Thursday after the Code Purple season ended for 2 years.
Wow.
That was something that she wanted to do. And like we didn't have to because the season ended in March, and we could have just said, "Okay, we're done until next season." But through the pandemic, we provided people in Seaford a meal. Anybody that came up there to get a meal every Tuesday and Thursday, we did that for like 2 years.
So even before photography, tank mentality, KFC, you were always thinking of other people.
Yeah.
You're always thinking about less fortunate, always trying to help people out. And that's admirable, actually.
Back to what I said, my grandmother.
Right.
The man that I am today mostly is the foundation of my grandmother because she was that person in the neighborhood. Anybody in the neighborhood that wanted something, she had it. And if you came to her and you asked her for something, she would give it to you. Like I said, I watched her, like back in the day you had the person that sold the sodas and the freeze cups and all that.
Oh yeah.
I watched her give away a lot of her product, and I used to always ask her, Grandma, why are you giving it away? She said, baby, it's not about that. And that taught me a lesson at an early age. So if I have something, I will give it to someone just because if I can.
Wow. That's phenomenal.
That's something because you don't meet people like that these days.
Yeah.
Or at least not many.
Not many.
Not many.
I'm not many. Trust me.
And I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about what you can get out of somebody anymore.
Yeah.
Because like the younger generation, even our generation, there's so many users, and they just want to use you for certain things. And I mean, we were talking about an ex, friend of ours, and stuff like that. You try to direct somebody down the right path, and they just don't want to listen.
Yeah.
And even if it's not even an addiction, it's just normal conversation to direct them to the right way they need to live their life to get to where they need to be. And the fact that you did that several times to with somebody and they just wouldn't listen, number one, and you still didn't abandon them, you know. But when they turned on you, it becomes an issue because now they're trying to trash you when you're not that person.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad because I know, you know, like I said, we had a mutual friend.
Yeah.
And it's sad that it went that way.
Yeah,
you know?
it really is.
You know, but you also see the true colors of it.
Sometimes you have to accept chapters when they close.
You're right.
So sometimes we meet people that are here for a reason and a season, and you have to sometimes know where to put people.
I agree. I think everyone has a purpose, you
Mhm.
know, and I think, you know, even though they might be your friend and they might be only be associate, or
Yeah.
they might be a friend that turns into an enemy.
Hmm.
They were there for a certain time and they served a purpose in your life.
Mhm.
You just don't know what it was.
We don't know what it is, and
Yeah.
that's what anybody we meet.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what the future holds, and
You're
we don't
right.
know how people are going to change. Because I was watching it on TV, but now I'm seeing that most of my friends are the Transformers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow.
So
Oh well, I mean,
you know,
I mean, it's I don't even know how to talk.
Good
in that way.
analogy.
Yes,
yeah, just throwing it out there.
well, I mean, like I tell people, you know, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not too mad about it, you know, so that's a good thing. But, you know, that's a good analogy, definitely. That would probably get me in trouble at work. But, I mean, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, leave
Have
it at
fun with
that.
But, yeah, you know, the biggest thing, you know, to take away from everything today is the fact that where you were, where you're at now, and the heart that you have. There's not many people with the heart that you have, honestly. I think me and John will agree with that.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
that, you know, there's stuff that, you know, we would like to, you know, down the road. Actually, matter of fact, I think we talked on the last podcast. I know you do is it the penguin plunge in Rehoboth?
Well, my
The
wife
polar
was
plunge? Polar plunge?
doing the polar bear plunge. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well,
So she was a caregiver for a little man named Jay, and Jay he's in a wheelchair. He has, you know, a lot of issues that he's dealing with,
mhm.
and she plunged for Jay.
Oh, wow.
So I mean that's something that was like, you know, I mean, near and dear to her because she was plunging for him.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely want to do that this year.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted. I made a comment doing the Maryland and Delaware one.
Yeah.
And we actually, what was it? I'm gonna wear something fun, of course.
Yeah,
something
yeah, make it
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, you know, who knows?
You
Might be a
never know.
Banana hammock, whatever it's gonna be. But I'm gonna have fun with it.
Yeah,
you
those
know?
events are pretty cool, man. Just seeing all the people out there dressed in different costumes and themes,
Yeah.
and like I said, everybody does it for a different reason. Like it's a good, basically a good cause that we actually love supporting.
That's something we definitely agree with, and that's something we want to do because we want to start moving into directions of like where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, doing stuff more for the community, more for, you know,
Mhm.
the kids out here. The more, I mean, and that's another thing. Like, you know, we'll just say the regular kid
Yeah.
don't have nothing. I mean, there's nothing to do out in this world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when I was growing up, yeah, we had like, you know, we did basketball and stuff, but these kids stay inside all the time.
Yeah.
You know, no matter where you go, and they barely go out. You know, there's things that we want to do. We want to help the community and stuff like that. And definitely, we definitely need a partnership sometime and do that. And we'd be more than welcome to come down and help and whatever you need. You know,
Okay.
that's definitely. Would you agree
Yeah.
with that, John?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, I want to make sure you're okay with this. You're just going,
Mm-hmm.
and then we cut these mics off. You're like, man, why'd you do that? Like, are you serious? You're not going to tell me that before you even said that? Are you serious? Like, no, no.
Yeah, USOB.
Yeah, I can
Making
be
me
that.
do
I
things.
I
No,
can
I'm
be an
kidding.
SOB. I'm cool. Yeah, I do make people do things sometimes, but still, I mean, like I said, man, this has been fantastic. I don't want this like a one-off. I'd like to do this, you know, down the road again, and
Okay.
maybe, you know, some more. I mean, are you cool with that? You
Yeah,
know,
I'm
stuff
cool
like
with
that?
it.
And maybe just one time we just do all three together. We just, you know, whatever topic we want to talk about. You know,
Sounds
'cause
like a
there's so
plan.
much. You know, definitely. You cool with that, John?
Oh, now you ask me.
No, now I do. Yeah, now I do. As you see, he's the dry guy. Like his humor is like dad jokes. You know what I
Dad
mean?
bod. I got a dad bod too.
Well, you got a kid. You do have 3 kids.
Too.
Same thing. They act like 3.
I know
But
after
don't they act
2
like
it's
3
like
kids?
8 to you.
Yeah,
but
well, they act like 3 kids, right? I mean, come on now, you know.
I am the third kid.
Well, there you go. I mean, I got boys and girls, the boys are not as hard to deal with than the girls. The girls are way
Yes.
difficult because once they get to a certain age, it goes from one extreme to another.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, what the hell just happened? You know, you're like, and then you got to change your whole mentality because you're dealing with like a little one, and now they're in the maturity stage, and you're like, oh God, I don't want to think of this. And then they go to the teenager stage, and you're like, don't be around anybody because I don't want to hear about anything you do.
Right.
You know, because now they're venturing off. They're starting to, I got friends, and especially now with phones.
Yeah.
Man,
Trust me.
8, 7 years old, got phones. They're on. Yeah, I'm talking to my friend. Yeah, she was this. Are you serious? It's 7 in the morning. Why are you talking to somebody on the phone? I don't want to talk on the phone until like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, for Christ's sakes. But I mean, that's how it was, definitely, So, coming back to the end of this, definitely, Tank, it's been great. Tank Mentality Movement. I want everyone to look that up on Facebook. Definitely give it a like. We are definitely going to be buying some merch from them. I mean, definitely. I do want to support that. I do want to get pictures. We do need to get a Instagram account and a
No,
Twitter
we
account.
have one. We just
have
don't
one?
use it.
Well, when we put that up?
We didn't. It's been made since our first one. We
Did
just
someone
don't do
call
anything
me
with
about
it.
it.
Yeah,
Like,
you said
am I
make
in the
it.
inner workings?
Yeah, you said make it. So I did.
Said, you didn't tell me about it. You didn't call me. Say, hey, or Instagram up.
Confirmation.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Gotta get something, man. Like, I don't know this stuff. Like, I am not computer or electronic savvy. You get me a pen and paper, I'll put it all together. Give me a mic and stuff, I'm just going to talk. If you do the computers, I'm just put my hands off because it's just not my, my realm. But definitely, like I tell people, on any closing, it is what it is, man. And I'm thankful that you came out today. Wasn't sure because I know you're a busy man.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you coming out. We'll have to do this again. But like I'll end this show, it is what it is. And if you ain't got haters, you ain't living life right.
So to everyone out there, make sure that you follow Tank Mentality Movement on Facebook, Tank Mentality on Instagram, and don't forget Real Talk Eastern Shore on all your podcast websites. Thank you.
So anyway, have a good night.